One of the most transformative things for my peace has been knowing that I have my own back. For years, I did not know that. For years, I actually couldn't trust myself at all. If I said I was going to leave by a certain time, I wouldn't. If I said I was going to say no to certain things, I couldn't be trusted in the face of somebody else. I truly always threw my own needs out the window, especially when I was interfacing with a different human. I could stay disciplined on my own, but as soon as someone else was in the mix, it made me feel like I have to toss this out the window. And if you're that kind of person and you're working through it, you're people pleasing, all of these tendencies, I just want you to know that you'll get there. And something that has really, I want to just really express what it feels like on the other side of that so that you know the texture. I remember doing a lot of my own healing work, learning just basic things like acceptance or being brave or having self-worth or all of these intentions I would set for myself, but I never knew what it even meant. Or confidence. Like, it sounds great in theory. I know that people say that it's the key to so many different things, but I don't even know what it feels like to feel like that. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you hear like that you're gonna learn long division and you're like, what does that even mean? Like, you don't even know. You just maybe like you see the numbers and the weird like L thing and you're like, okay, that's cool. I guess I'll know how to do that someday. So I want you to understand that when you're on your journey and you're setting intentions and you're up leveling, it might feel so confusing to even know what it is you're calling in, because what does it even feel like? So for me, it's been reclaiming my power. And I literally didn't know what that actually meant at all. I knew it was just like some jargon and it felt like it resonated. And every time I sat in meditation, I would hear like, own your power, which I think is like a people pleaser's dilemma. So I'm like, yeah, okay. What the fuck does that mean? And I sat with this for, honestly, probably years, but very intentionally over the last 6 months, where I really, really, really tried to understand what it meant to own my power. I did meditations on owning my power. I played with owning my power in conversation or in dance class or when I was just out and about. And again, I'm stumbling blind. I'm not really sure if I'm owning my power or not. I'm just like, this is maybe what it looks like. And sometimes I was too nervous to try to own my power because it felt vulnerable or scary or like I'd be shamed or rejected. So now on the other side of knowing what owning my power is and knowing what it feels like to have my own back, which has gone hand in hand, I feel like this. I have a bunch of people coming over tonight for a cacao ceremony. I don't even know some of them. There's a part of me that's like a little like, oh, it's vulnerable. People coming into my house, I don't know them. I'm trying to let go of old things around trust and lots of stuff that was conditioned in my childhood and just be in an open space. I also have all these like how I should act, and I'm like, okay, how about I just do what feels good to me? How about I play the music that I want to play? How about I flow the way that I would want to flow? And I'm like, that feels so good. And then I had this whole thing where I threw all my stuff in my bedroom and I was like, oh my God, everyone's gonna come in here and see what a freaking mess it is. And then I was like, no one's coming in here. And then I had this like other voice, like, why? What if they want to see your bedroom? Like, and the old me would have been like, oh yeah, what if they want to see my bedroom? Oh shoot, like everything's gotta be perfect. And I would have to say yes if they asked. And I was like, no one's coming in my bedroom. And it might sound so simple, but if you know me or if you know you and you're one of those people, you know how hard that is. But it's like, once you get to that turning point, it's so incredible because you know that no matter what happens, you have your own back. You're willing to leave when you need and want to leave. You are able to rest when you feel like you need rest. That's another thing today. I've been running it so hard trying to make this home perfect and everything beautiful and perfect. Haha, working on that too. But yeah, really like making this an intentional environment that I'm really excited to share with others. And there were a few moments throughout the day where I really was on my feet nonstop, just working, cleaning, cooking, organizing, making things beautiful. And I was like, I can rest. My rest is more important than anything else. And I trusted myself to allow myself to take those moments of rest and not beat myself up or anything. Just sit down and breathe, and also trust that my body can recover. Like, I think that's another thing for us, like hyper responsible people, that we don't even think that if we took a beat, we would ever make it back or something. Like, the momentum's too strong. And believe me, I still have some of those conditioned fears. So I'm not that advanced on that one, but to be honest, but let me tell you from my experience today, I recovered. And there were moments where I just felt like, now I feel so much clearer. Oh, and while I sat down, something else clicked, that it was kind of spinning in the back of my head, draining me. And now I know that decision too. Like, it's just so nice to feel like you've got you and your body's got you and you are just taking care of you. I mean, that's really all it is. Are you actually taking care of yourself? For years, my slogan was selfless self-care. And the whole premise, and it is something I trademarked, the whole premise is that your self-care is actually selfless, because when you pour into yourself, you overflow into the world, and that is the most selfless thing that you can do. When you're running with an empty cup and on empty and just depleted, you're in survival mode. You are not safe for yourself and others. You're snapping, you're emotional, you're super dependent on other people, you're clingy, you don't think you're enough. Like, you're not acting from truth, you're acting from fear. And that is like, bro, you're a hazard to you and yourself. I mean, to you and yourself and you and yourself and everybody else. And I didn't see that for so long, that my selfishness in taking care of myself, or leaving a space, or saying I need a minute, or whatever it is, saying no to things that feel personal, like not oversharing everything necessarily, or finding just boundaries. And boundaries also were so confusing to me for so long, what that even meant. Well, I feel like I'll talk about that another time too. But yeah, like having my own back, truly taking care of myself first. Self-care isn't just bubble baths. Self-care is truly protecting yourself, but not being like acting out of protectiveness. It's being an open-hearted person, and as things arise, setting boundaries and then enforcing those boundaries, making sure that you don't engage with things that are no's for you, because you can operate from your highest good. And if you don't know what I mean, I've talked about that in other videos too, the details on understanding your true no's and what's not in alignment for you, or when your body contracts or expands around something. Also, you can share those things with people. Like, not all of this is meant to happen in a vacuum. Your self-care is, yes, you, and you are going to be the one to enforce it and protect it and all those things, nobody else. But the people in your life deserve to know what's going on with you. So let's say you're hanging out with someone and you have a contraction around something. Can you say, that made me pull back? You don't even have to know exactly why yet. Can you just voice it? Can you just give yourself a voice? Can you just give your body a voice? Because what happens is, when we don't do that, we also harbor so much resentment. Little things start piling up and we start pulling back from people. And maybe it's important that we pull back from them, but maybe a little communication could have clarified what's actually going on. And I'll be the first to say that in my new journey of really having my own back and protecting myself, I've gotten pretty jumpy about people in my field. And there's times where I've needed to make clarifications. Even in my partnership, this whole experience that's happening right now could have been much less, there could have been less moments of finality and deep fear and despair had I made clarifications and asked further questions and understood that I will have my own back regardless. But having the moments of intimacy and connection and clarification is so important, so that I know what moves I'm making. So every single person in your life deserves your honesty. And that's a huge part of my practice now, is just being honest about myself and where I am, being honest about my needs, being honest with my energy, being honest, because we really freaking lie a lot. It's kind of crazy how much we just pretend to be okay or go through the motions of things when it really doesn't feel in alignment or good, or we're contracted, or we're resentful, or we're uncomfortable. So yes, we have to manage our own things. We have to take responsibility for our own well-being. We're not like putting everything on everyone else, but can we just notice, okay, is this something I can quell, or is this something that's not feeling good and it deserves communication? Because the people in your life deserve that too. So I know that's a little bit of a mixed message today. Not a mixed message. The message is consistent, but it's two different messages. I was sharing a little about communication and people. I'm also sharing about self-care. But self-care is something that doesn't happen in a vacuum, and that's just something I really want to say. Self-care is doing it for you on your own, having your own back in the face of others. Can you self-care in the face of others is really the ultimate question, because you can, have your routine when you're all alone, living on an island in Puerto Rico with nobody around. Is that based on a true story? Yeah. Where I was so healthy, so fit, like thriving, but I was lonely, and actually I wasn't thriving. And I wasn't being honest with the people in my life. I was skirting around, just people pleasing. So your social self-care is a huge area that now I'm working on. I always used to say self-care is mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. I also think it's social. And it's just not even like, I don't know, that's just because you think of the self, but the self interacts with other people. We're an interdependent species. We need to have connections with people. And if you're one of those people that thinks you're an introvert, or like just doesn't like people, like you can be an introvert, but doesn't like people, likes to be all alone, I promise that isn't your full truth. I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out. You're probably just afraid to be your whole self and be honest. Because that was me. And now, like I said, I'm oscillating between introvert, extrovert, just depending on the day. Like literally, I wanted to say clinically, psychologically, I don't know. Whenever I've taken the Myers-Briggs test, not that that's the end all be all, but interesting, huh? So I was so afraid of people and how to actually interact with them that I just called myself an introvert, because it was easier to isolate and take care of myself and meet all my needs by myself. But the richest stuff happens in connection. The richest stuff happens in relationship. And I don't mean romantic relationship, but yes, I do think that's like the pinnacle, because when we're in those kinds of relationships, so much surfaces, because like the attachments are higher and the stakes feel higher, and it's just kind of natural that comes up. So we get to really interface with our shadows and our fearful parts, and their shadows and their fearful parts, and the mirrors we have between one another, because that's what happens in romantic relationship a lot. But it also happens in friendship. It also happens in family. It also happens in any interfacing with any human at any point. They are a mirror for you. They are a person to show you what you need to work on for you. They are a person to inspire you and uplift you, even if there's triggers, there's lessons, there's all these things. So people, social self-care, that is so huge. And I wish that I knew that sooner, because I was pouring into all these buckets that, yes, they're important, but nothing is as important as the social one. The social one feels like it's like the super path to wherever you're going. If you let yourself interact with people and do the work in person with people in real life, in real time, I mean, that is the stuff that's no book, no seminar, nothing can do it like the real time interaction. I know that you're gonna need like some tips and tricks and support and all those things, and that's why I'm here chatting. And then there's so many other people out there in the world sharing here too. But I know if you feel this like social anxiety around that, or just in general, or like, I get it. But once you have your own back and you really, really, really do, and you reclaim your power, your ability to say no, your ability to say that doesn't really sit well with me, or I need time for myself, or I'm gonna leave, or whatever the thing is, that is when you have peace in the world. So much more peace in the world comes from that. So the texture is peaceful. The texture is grounded. The texture is boundaried. I know that might seem vague if you're early on the journey, but you just feel like you're protected because you are by you. And it allows you to feel so much more anchored and confident. I wish this for absolutely everyone, because then you can have real, deep, authentic friendships, and you can also have fun. And you can also have real intimacy like that, because real intimacy is built from honesty, right? So when you're living your people-pleasing life and only filling your other self-care buckets, self-care, then I'm like tempted to say you're not getting anywhere. It's kind of like it's a facade. It's a facade where you're at. And I don't mean, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm speaking to the younger me too. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's a facade. Like, I know you think you've got it all figured out, but you got to put that stuff into practice now. You got to get out in the world. You got to hang out with people. You got to show up in ways. You got to sign up for the classes you're afraid to go to. You got to put yourself out on the line. You got to have conversations. You got to set boundaries. You got to say no. You got to say, So that's real intimacy. Yeah, that's a super freaking rocket ship. And that's, again, why I'm having this cacao ceremony tonight, because when we gather together and we're not doing things alone, not only are we just so much better equipped to handle struggle, we don't feel alone. We really feel like, have you guys ever read Chicken Soup for the Soul? That book slaps. Chicken Soup for the Soul, which is all these short stories about like life and things, and they'll have a theme, and the whole book will be that one theme kind of thing. And then you're reading and you're like, wow, maybe I've never been through that, but I know that feeling, and I'm not so alone, and we're all more similar than we are different. And it has this beautiful, just rich Chicken Soup for the Soul. Like, great name. That is literally how it is when you gather with humans, especially in like a sacred container, or a container that's intentional. Sacred sounds like woo woo, whatever. Just setting intention to connect and share and show up authentically, like that shit, you can lift any weight. You can do anything. You can be so much braver from that place to be yourself, to take risks in the outside world. And it just feels so good. So let yourself be seen. Like a lot of us have this like wound of not being understood. It's like, are you letting yourself even be seen? Or have people give the chance? Are you even giving people the chance for you to be understood? Are you being truly honest? Do you even understand yourself? Okay, that's all that I have, because I have some beautiful people coming over and I'm showing up. And by the way, not perfectly. I have, I'm tired. I have lots of things on my mind and my plate. I'm taking this video because I said I would every day. Of course, I still have these things, like I want it to be perfect and all of these things. And there's a lot of energy to manage, and it gives me a little anxiety because there's so much, and they're coming here and they're expecting something, and it's okay to just be and be yourself and flow. Just flow. It's all perfect. Everybody will get what they need. Everything will be great. And so it is. I hope you have the most beautiful day. If you don't know and you want this kind of experience in real life, I have a retreat coming up January 15th through 18th here on Maui, women only. It's called Lit and Luscious. Come home to your authentic joy. And it's so beautiful. It's about being you. It's about being joyful. It's about living lit and lusciously. It's about connection. It's about play. It's about living your life outside of these like rigid, like meditative standards, which yeah, you have that practice. That's great. Sure. But bring it into the world and play in the world, because the whole world is waiting for you, and you are meant to have a beautiful, fun, lit and luscious experience all the while. So let's bring it to the playground and I almost said duke it out. Come fight me this January 2026. See you there. Love you. Bye.